you do not want your likeness, then you can turn off your camera. This also does go to Facebook Live, but all the content is all PG or less or better. I will go to Facebook Live in about 10 minutes. Now, do you guys have any questions or like, I'm kind of curious about, I'm going to ask again, but like team challenges or, so I think I heard, you know, one is Shannon's got a whole base of like, how do we keep morale up, I think, is when we can't see each other. That's one. What about Vanessa? What's going on at Paycor?
Actually, today, and this relates to my question, but today is actually a very strange day at Paycor. We had to do some workforce reductions today.
Ooh.
Which is every type that you can think of course, because of how we're impacted by the current economic crisis. Obviously, we pay people, and when there are fewer people to pay, there are fewer dollars coming into our company. Like so I do
3 million less, right? Holy cow.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And we have a fairly sizable presence. So it's a fairly sizable amount of people that are paid by us directly. So yes, luckily I still have my job. I'm very grateful, but I do have an emergency meeting so I will need to jump off a little bit early. I was just wondering, where do I find the recording so I can see the end?
Oh, the recording?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get a link to the end.
Awesome.
And at the end, I'll blame you for everything that the team did wrong. Oh, sorry, did I say that?
That's completely fair. I'm the
Tracy Stokely will be so happy that I told you that.
She highly recommended you in this session, so I'm sad to not be able to stay on the whole time.
It's okay. What time do you have to leave, just so I know?
I'm going to try to split the difference and leave at 3:45. It's at 3:30, but I could be a little late.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why is if you leave right in the middle of the team building portion that everyone's involved in, that's awesome. That's really, somebody did it too. Somebody did it recently, and the whole team has to adjust, right? Because you leave.
Well, please warn me and I won't.
Very real world, because what if your internet goes down?
I know. You know what? The last program, I have this amazing woman. She's calling in from Georgia, the country. And she was on in one of the windows and she was hanging out and she was actually assisting the program. And all of a sudden you just hear ding dong. And I'm like, oh, well, where did Kenny go? And she emailed me like 10 minutes later and she goes, oh, sorry, our entire community lost power.
No lie.
Right, talk about things we're thankful for. I mean, this is stuff that, like, I'm sure Shannon, right, you know, the grid could go down at any moment. Look at her. She just froze on internet.
I'm trying to make sure it said my internet was unstable, so I was making sure it's good to go.
No, I'm just saying, right? I was saying that one of the people we were talking to, literally, she said the whole town's power went out. She was in Georgia, the country.
Wow.
And so you have to think about it. This is stuff that can happen.
Yep.
Right? And I told people, I said, you know, you think you see people panicking now, right? Wait till you see the internet go down, right? In mass panic. Luckily, that hasn't happened. I mean, the internet companies have done a pretty good job of increasing capacity. But I mean, like Zoom didn't know that 10 million was going to go to 200 million in a day. And so, yeah. What about you, Casey? Do you have any other challenges that are going on around you?
Well, we're also doing virtual tutoring because we have tutoring in the library.
Yeah. And
then we're also trying to get laptops to students in need, which is a program that is it's just trickling in because we have to like process applications because we only have so many.
Yes.
And now our building is being shut like on Tuesday. So I have no idea what we're going to do. We're going to try to move to the building next to our building, but who knows when that one's going to get shut down. So yeah, we've got a lot going on. And then we also have to like have a new semester starting in, you know, a little over a month. So we're probably going to be at least half the summer will be online and exclusively, possibly the whole summer. And then today in our staff meeting, we talked about possibly the fall being completely online. So it changes every single day. What new challenge do we have, you know? So, and I think it's definitely made us stronger as a team. And then in addition to that, we're going to be adding new people, because we're probably going to be employing some work studies to do the tutoring and stuff like that. So some new ones. So this will be very helpful for that, because it's one thing to transition from people in person to working in an online environment, to then bringing in completely brand new people to that online environment. So.
Hey, John, Casey was the lady that popped on at the wrong time the other day.
Yeah, like 3 hours early.
3 hours early, right? And her dog, remember the dog bed? I was just like, wait a minute, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Yay! How's the dog been? Good?
They're great. I have 2, and then my roommate has 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Three's company.
Yes.
Well, perfect. I thought so. Vanessa has to leave early. I'm sure you guys don't mind. I'm going to start 4 minutes early. The first part of the class is some blah, blah, blah. So anybody who joins right in at noon, we're going to just join them in. Are you guys okay with that? Okay. I'm going to click the button and wait for some streaming. Ooh, that looks delicious, Vanessa.
That looks like she belongs in the happy hour. The festive.
It's kombucha. It's kombucha.
Oh, good. Healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We are streaming live on Facebook. Okay, great. We're going to start. My name is John Chen, and you have dropped into virtual team building. You are here because I've heard lots of challenges around team building. And in this 60 minutes, you're going to learn how to be able to build your teams better, raise morale, right, and bring some order to the chaos known as coronavirus. Okay, here we go. So why are you here? Well, I took your responses and put them in a word cloud. And here are some of the reasons why you are here. Well, virtual team building and online activities. Well, good, you're in the right place. But there are some other interesting words here too. Gaming, virtual, hearing, new, meetings, information, concepts. So these are some of the reasons, and it's amazing how I'm collecting this information. I look forward to kind of trying to categorize all the answers to just see where are the trends of what people need most. But morale, disconnection, right? Chaotic meetings. So those are some of the other things that I'm seeing. Well, today I'm just going to actually start with a little bit about why experiential team building works. So in other words, learn by doing, and specifically why virtual team building works. So we're going to go over a few key points here. Is that it works, and it works better than the classroom, and then self-facilitating teams produce the greatest ROI. You're like, what does that mean? Well, I'll explain that sentence here in just a second. The first part here is that team building works. Oh, and let me just do this. I see I'm getting my captions in Slovenian.
For last night.
For those who don't know Slovenian, actually this is a great back trick here. PowerPoint has this function built in if you have the latest version. And when you go here, you go to slideshow, you can actually turn on subtitles. And you can change the subtitles saying the spoken language is English, and what do I want to put it in? I had a Vietnamese group. No, I had an Arabic group. I did this with Saudi Arabian. I was able to put Arabic, and it is listening to me in real time and giving Arabic, right? It's hearing me in English and giving Arabic subtitles. It was crazy. It was cray. It was really cool. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to go back to English.
That's great for the students. English as a second language would help them.
ESL is a great piece here. And so now you can watch and see how well the captions pick up from this particular set of software. It's pretty good, exclamation point. Here we go. So, okay. Yeah, we're back to the point here is that it works. And when I say it works is that here is a chart, and this black dot line here is a team who is taking an assessment known as a team development index. Everyone in the team takes the test, and it aggregates into a number that says, as the number goes higher, this team is working better in terms of they're communicating better, they trust each other more, they problem solve better. So as this number goes up, one of the key things that we have in this research is that this line here is the time it takes for them to do a complex task, right? It took them about 46 minutes when they first started this team building program. After this professionally designed team building program, they were able to do it in 40% less time. So each of you that are managers, you know that one of the key pieces of value is that you're already paying the salary of your team. But if you can get more time out of them by them spending less time on their existing tasks, it means they have more time to do cool things, more creative things, things that make more money or product. The next point here is that it works better than the classroom. So in this part, the X line is a team that does nothing. They get nothing, they do nothing, they got no results. Now, have you ever gone to a class, Vanessa, and got so jacked up from the class and that you got really excited, and then you took the binder or the book or the workbook or whatever they gave you? Remember when we used to accept workbooks? And then you put it on the shelf and you did nothing with it. If you did that, raise your hand. Vanessa has, Shannon has, good, Casey has. I know Debbie Ann is the most, she's like the type A student. She's like, I went back and I studied it all day long, people. All right, anyways, this is what happens in the classroom training. So if I talk to you for 60 minutes in a webinar, you could get up to a 10-point boost in your team building. The next week you go back to exactly how bad you were before, right? So here's the reason why it works better than a classroom. An experiential team building event too, people sometimes get anxiety beforehand, so their team development goes down because they're doing some unknown team building event. But when a professionally designed team building event works, you can get, in this case, they measured a 77% boost in team development, right? And if you saw from the last chart, that means a big gain in how much that team is performing. So the last piece here is the self-facilitating teams. I'm going to teach you a very small piece of self-facilitating, and what that means is that the team actually allocates time after they complete a complex task to review what they did and ask some simple questions like what, so what, and now what. So what happened? So what did that mean to me? And now what are we going to do different? Right? And so when they do that, here again, this control class does nothing, but these three other teams all take a professional team building event. This group with the black boxes does no follow-up. And you can see, this is where I give the quote. Teams are like software. They need continual updates. And if you don't update them, they break. And so that's what happens in this group. It took them 6 months. So that's quite a bit of value if you look at this, that area here that they're getting this value, but eventually they go back to where they're at. In this case, they do follow-up, which is simple, which is like we visit together, you know, once every 4 weeks, and we maybe spend an hour or two and say, hey, remember that cool stuff we learned in that class? Let's find out if we're doing it or do an exercise. They retain about 80% of their gains. But this team here, the black dots, they come in here, they have been taught how to be self-facilitating, which means they ask questions and they get even 1% better each meeting. This is what happens. They don't only meet the goals from the professional team building event, they meet and exceed their performance level. They keep getting better. And when they keep getting better, that means they keep completing their tasks faster or producing more value, so they have more space and time to be more creative. So that's what I mean by self-facilitating teams produce the greatest ROI. And let me tell you, people don't get this because I've actually sold follow-up and self-facilitation training, and they did a program, and then they would go, I would have to bug them. Hey, do you want to schedule your follow-up or your self-facilitating? And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. So they paid me and I didn't have to do anything. It's the greatest add-on. It's like car underbody treatment for those people who sold cars, right? But you know, the hardest part for me is I care about their ROI. So this is something that you want to look for, self-facilitation. All right. Now, all of you have been affected by coronavirus, right? And so I have been too. I have had 12 face-to-face programs that have been canceled. And so I created this acronym, hopefully so you remember it, but it's kind of also how I felt, right? After when I first learned about all the stuff that's gonna happen with coronavirus, right? And the acronym is GRR, right? Just say it with me, even if you're muted or not muted, just say GRR, right? GRR. Because that's kind of, it's therapeutic. Okay, so, but it's an acronym that stands for these things. So the G stands for goals. So in goals, your pre-corona goals are most likely different than your post-corona goals. And then what you're also learning about being here in virtual land is that even though you think you have the same goals, your team thinks they have the same goals, everyone could be operating them in a different way. And it's why you're not completing some of your goals, and why you might be frustrated, right? So I have this key fact. only 5.9% of companies communicate their goals daily. 5.9. You want to be the top 6% of the world? Do this one thing. Send an email every day with your team goals. Maybe you add on to it and say, and here's the updates, right? And eventually, hopefully you should celebrate and say, our team completed this goal. And your team, right, will look for this email every day for their clarification. It should be the first thing that they look for when they wake up. So, I mean, the other challenges we have here too is that if you're new to Zoom land, this is a diagram of the Zoom meeting attention span. All right, somebody gave me the greatest compliment for this program, and they said, I actually have more energy after 60 minutes of being on Zoom rather than less. And you should be watching the techniques that I am doing to do that. All right, the next R is for rules, right? We've had the largest disruption of the rules we know. We all know how to meet face-to-face, right? We know we can have a sidebar conversation and other things like that. But here, right, and what I like to call Corona land, right? It's totally different. And you need to help create new rules. And if you want to be a leader, it doesn't matter if you have the position or not. If you want to be a leader, help your team establish new rules. 39% of surveyed employees believe that their people in their organization don't collaborate enough. And it's usually because everyone is not operating on the same set of rules. Okay, the next R is for rhythm, right? And rhythm, teams need rhythm to perform. And if your team doesn't have rhythm, that is most likely why they are failing. Here in this example, you see this Japanese drill team, right? And when they have rhythm, it looks amazing, right? Like that, right there. And if they don't have rhythm, they bump into each other, they step on each other's toes, they do rework, and they have to do it all over again. 97% of employees and executives believe that the lack of alignment within a team impacts the outcome of a task or a project. If you are not completing your tasks, if you are being slow with your team, right, this lack of alignment, all right, here, it means that you don't have rhythm and that you are impacting the outcome of your task and your project. Okay, all of those things put together get you this, results. Now, I love cars, all right? I'm a Porsche Boxster owner. I love watching all the F1 videos on Netflix. And so this is just a great example for me of what happens when a team has the same goals, they have the same rules of engagement, and they all have a rhythm. You can do this. Over 20 people work together to change 4 tires, gas up a car, and service many other items in less than 2 seconds. I want your team to be able to produce these kind of results in whatever work you're trying to do. And you can only do that when you have the same goals, rules, and rhythm. Okay, so my goal for this program is that you have the ability to host a productive team meeting and you establish some of the best team practices online. Somebody just gave this to me and they've been going to a lot of Zoominars and they said the Zoominar that I helped them with was the first one that was interactive. So that means like 80 to 90% of the stuff is like people are throwing up slides and talking for 60 minutes. I'm gonna show you something different, all right? The first thing I'm gonna teach you is something called Go Ahead Caller. And Go Ahead Caller, you know, if Casey and Debbie try to have a sidebar conversation, right? When we're face-to-face, they can do that, right? They can do that, they can whisper each other and they don't bother me, the speaker. But here, you do it in Zoom land, right? Casey's dog starts barking, you know, for whatever reason. Even I know Casey's dog is better than that. But anyways, listeners, as Casey's dog starts barking like crazy, then, you know, we all hear it, right? As if, like, the dog is the keynote speaker. And so we need a way to do air traffic control here. Quite often, you've probably seen Zoom meetings where everyone talks at the same time and basically nobody hears anything. So this it's called Go Ahead Caller, and it works like this, right? I said, if you want to, we'll establish some rules. And this came from my dream of wanting to be a radio DJ. I love Casey's like little mic cover because it reminds me of like what my DJs use. And so Casey would call in, she goes, hey, this is Casey, right? And she goes, I would say, go ahead, Casey. And so I would ask her and bring back to it. So what we're gonna do with this is establish a few online speaking rules. And so if you're visual, raise your hand. So just raise your hand, practice raising your hand. Casey, Shannon, Vanessa, there we go. Wait, we have somebody else with us too. Laura, oh my gosh, it's Laura, yay! So great, can't wait to see you. If you're not visual, then you need to chat me or unmute and say your name, or you can also raise your hand. So you have to find some way to notify me. What you're going to do is if 2 or 3 of you raise your hand at the same time, I'll acknowledge all of you, and I'm going to establish some order. So in this case, and go ahead caller, I'm going to have you say your name and where you're calling in from. And then I'd like you to say a team challenge that you're having. So for instance, if I raise my hand, I would say, go ahead, John. And I said, okay, hi, my name is John Chen. I'm from Seattle, Washington. And my challenge right now is I have to instruct 6 people online on how to do better online team building. And they're like, okay, that's great. So that's how it works. That's an example. And we're going to come back here. And now let's find out who's here. So who would like to go first and introduce themselves? Let's go to Casey, then Shannon.
Hello, I'm Casey, and I work at a college library, and I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
And the team challenge you're having.
The second part?
Team challenge you're having.
Team challenge. I'm taking the minutes during our meetings, and I need to stop everyone from talking at one time because I can only write so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a tough job, Casey. So thank you for that. And we'll talk about, actually, I'm going to show you something that I'm doing behind the scenes a little bit later. So, okay, great. Thank you, Casey. Who'd like to, oh, I saw Shannon want to go next. Go ahead, Shannon.
Hi, my name's Shannon. I am in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm the Community Cohesion Coordinator for Joint Base Charleston. And so my main challenge right now is, with so many of us doing telework, is trying to get our squadrons and our units to do virtual meetings and even virtual games and activities to help boost morale and keep things, you know, so everybody's still connected.
Excellent. Thank you. And again, thank you for your service. Thank you for allowing us people to do our day-to-day life. So thank you so much, Shannon, for the service you do. Let's see, who'd like to go next? Let's go to Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, working as a principal instructional designer for Paycor. It's a payroll software company. And one of the problems that we're having is that now that we're not all in a room together, a lot of people are multitasking during meetings because we can't see quite as easily that they're doing it. And
what do you mean?
The attention spans are kind of all over the place, which I think understandably may be also due to stress. But yes, so keeping everyone completely engaged in what we're doing is my challenge.
Perfect, Vanessa. I mean, watch this. Watch how engaged. Watch your level of engagement through this meeting, right? And you'll see something different. To me, it's a waste of time, right? Like, I always hated meetings where one person presented, like, send that to me and let me read it. When we're together here, we should maximize that time doing the things that we can't do when we're together, which is discuss, right? Make agreements, brainstorm. Those are the kind of things. But like Debbie Ann presenting for 60 minutes, as much as I love Debbie Ann, I don't want it. I'd like, give me the deck. I'll probably read it in half the time that she spoke it, right? And figure it out. So watch for these examples, Vanessa. Let's go to Laura.
Hi, John. I'm Laura Leist, and I'm in Redmond, Washington, not far from John. And I would say my biggest challenge right now is just trying to figure out how I can take some of the training that I do in person and do it virtual with some interactive things to keep people engaged.
So watch this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Laura. Go ahead.
I mean, as you know, right now, my entire team was laid off. So we're not really having any team meetings, or I need to keep my team engaged. So my purpose here is a little different.
Your clients are your team, and you got to keep them engaged. I mean, that's my perspective. Is that about right?
Yes, but I also have a team that I look forward to bringing back soon.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, great. Watch this. Okay, the other 4, right, not Laura, raise your hand and see if you can guess what eliminate chaos means to Laura. Oh, look at that, Laura. I just stunned everybody. I feel like that was a stun gun. Nobody? Come on.
That's an easy question.
Yeah, come on. Really? Debbie Ann, what does eliminate chaos mean to you? No, you're on mute. Oh, wait. I get to do my new sign. Ready? Bam! Make some signs. That's a good
This
tip.
whole time I've been talking, nobody heard me. It means to take control of a classroom, your position, and put in some new tools that we have, but are going to have to use them in a different capacity to make things run smoothly.
So amazingly on task, right? Let me just help you. Laura's one of my very good friends. She's also a member of the National Speakers Association. Fantastic presenter. Here's the 2 hallmarks for Laura. Remember when we used to go to the TSA and you had to like open your purse and show people? Well, multiple people have remarked about Laura's purse. That's the most organized purse I've ever seen. So Laura is actually a professional organizer, and I can tell you that I'm a client. She organized my pantry closet and my kitchen over 12 years ago, and I'm telling you, I'm still using the same system today. I'm an avid home cook, and the reason why I can turn dishes out so fast is because I know exactly where everything is.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you want to meet her online here in the chat room. Meanwhile, Debbie Ann, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm the opposite of Laura, I would say. I'm pretty much a big mess. I've got everything all over the place. I am a facilitator of a program where I go into schools and I teach healthy eating and about our environment, and that has come to a halt. I believe that John has the answer to bring me and all my coworkers back to work, and I'm working on getting my boss to see the value in this program. I also have had the pleasure of doing a youth leadership group with John for about 5 years in a row, and he has the best part of the 5-day course that I look forward to every year, which is a scavenger hunt with a digital component, and it lasts 5 hours and it feels like 20 minutes. It goes that fast every year. It's fabulous.
Thank you, Debbie Ann. And you can also, if you find the video, I know there's a last year's 2019 recap video. You can put it in the chat room if anybody's interested. Debbie Ann's role today is she's one of my producers, so she's actually assisting. She's pushing some buttons around the background. And so if you need any help, feel free to hit it in the chat room. Okay, speaking of chat rooms, let's go and continue on. Here we go. So the next team building initiative I'm going to show you is called Back Channel Chat, right? So Back Channel Chat. So go ahead and go to the chat window, and I want to make sure that everybody's chat window works. I'm going to chat my LinkedIn profile. So if you wanted to see something about me or connect with me there, you can do that. Or you can chat your URL for your company, or you can just chat something inspirational. I just want to see that your chat works. Now, while you do that, and Debbie is going to make sure that everyone has the ability to chat, my suggestion for this is in your meetings, introduce the chat window to your groups. Tell them, right, and encourage them to use it when others are speaking. So for instance, when I'm speaking now, it's hard for you to have sidebar conversations, but you can do it in the chat room. And so quite often I go to many other people's webinars, and to keep myself engaged, I start chatting like mad to figure out who's actually there and who's actually responding. And quite often I end up finding the person I want to meet is not the speaker. It's somebody I meet in the chat room. And so it's a great piece of networking. I can tell you if I'm chatting with the content, it's my way of keeping engaged. The chat room can help extroverts, right? So extroverts, we're like, ooh, I got something to add about this idea. You can do it in the chat room, right? Let the chat room blow up, and that means people are engaged. It helps extroverts get their ideas out without interrupting. And if you're one of those introverts, I quite often find in my team building programs that the introverts find the answer to the team building challenge. And it's because they are listening and gathering all this visual information, auditory information, and when they finally process it and they get the right idea, now they can get it out before they lose it, and they can do that in the chat room. The chat room is a great place for creativity, right, and for engagement. So back channel chat. So let's see, Debbie, do we have everybody chatted?
We do, sir.
That's great. Okay, great. So now we're going to continue on to our next piece here. So we're going to do our next team building. Well, I'm giving you a team challenge. So just so you know, Debbie and I are not chatting, so it's the rest of you. The challenge is to chat A to Z, one letter at a time. So this doesn't mean that Shannon with her type A personally can't go A, B, C, D, F, G, and try and hit return, right? She can only do A and she can't go again. You can't try it twice in a row. So Vanessa, Laura, or Casey would have to go B, right? And so, yes, you have to restart if you miss a letter. So if you go A, B, D, or A, B, C, C, you have to restart. While you're chatting A to Z, so if somebody does chat A, you cannot talk, right? Until you miss a letter or repeat a letter. But if you do miss a letter, repeat a letter, then you can talk until somebody starts to chat A again. Those are the rules. So you can unmute for a second now. And does anybody have any questions about the rules?
Is there a time limit?
Depends. All I know is Vanessa needs to leave early. So she's probably like, I gotta get out of here. But I don't have any time limit.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I'm a little too competitive. I don't know.
And Vanessa, watch. Your level of engagement just went up, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just want you to notice that. Okay, great. Other questions?
What are we supposed to write in the chat box with the letters?
A, B, C.
Oh, just the letter.
Yeah, chat A to Z.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just
Look,
a letter.
coronavirus is already difficult enough, people. I'm just here to give you an easy task.
Can we come up
next
with
question.
a plan ahead of time? Or do we have to just start?
Did you say hand sanitize?
No, I said, do we have to come up with a plan ahead of time, or do we just start? Should we go in alphabetical order? Since we're doing the alphabet. KC.
We can.
KLSV.
Okay, I'll start.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wait, I wasn't allowed to say that.
Okay, no talking, please. KCA, Laura B. Shannon C. Vanessa D. Laura E. Oh, two E's. Casey and Laura have two E's. Okay, whoop, Casey, restart. Yeah, okay. We're to E. Continue on. J, K, Shannon K, Vanessa L, KCM, Laura N, Shannon O, Vanessa P, KCQ, Laura R, Shannon S. Sounds like email names. Vanessa T, KCU, Laura V, Shannon W, Vanessa X, KCY, Z. Fantastic. Okay, let's unmute your mics. And let's ask a couple questions inside of here. So again, remember I talked about self-facilitating teams? This is the perfect time to do that. I'm going to ask basically 3 questions. What happened? So what did that mean to you? And now what are you going to do different? So you're watching this. What happened from your seat?
You have to pay attention.
Laura says pay attention. Okay, what else?
Yeah, I found myself like thinking ahead. So figured out like ahead of time what my letter was.
Yeah, figure ahead Oh,
And then when it was your turn, even though you figured it out ahead, then you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
you
didn't want to be
second
the
guess
one to mess
yourself,
it all up.
Casey? Did I hear that right? You second guess yourself, Casey?
Yeah, even though you already figured it out ahead, then once it's your turn, you're like, wait, let me make sure it's the right one.
Okay. Let me ask about this key moment, though, right? There was, you guys went here and you double E'd. I believe it was Casey and Laura. What happened?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah?
It
Laura?
was me that's,
I have to.
well, I think it was me that screwed it up. I think I should have put F.
Oh, so you lost track, right?
I was worried that maybe the going in alphabetical order while doing the alphabet was a bad idea. And I had confused you.
Well, I'll have to ask the other three. Was it a bad idea?
No, I don't think
No.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, it helped me. I knew who I went right after, so it helped me.
After the first round, I just knew I went right after you, so that's what I did.
Okay, perfect. So that's the next question, right? Which is, so I asked what happened. Okay, so what did this experience mean to you? Just raise your hand when you're done. When you have it, if you have something to contribute.
I want to say it's probably the most cohesive, thought, moment that I've had in a Zoom chat. Like we were all thinking and working together.
Yes, you felt in sync, right? You just met these people, Casey. You don't know these three people, really, right?
No, I mean now I do.
Yeah, yeah. That's brilliant, right? Anybody else want to add on?
I felt a lot of pressure. Like I just met you, but I felt like I needed to do a good job so that this didn't take up too much of your time. Like I felt an immediate responsibility to you because we were working together.
Vanessa, sorry, go ahead, Casey.
It was fun.
Yeah, you celebrated, right? You actually have a genuine team experience, and that raises team morale. Teams just want to succeed. Nobody wants to suck. Teams want to succeed. And when you succeed, right, you celebrate. Even if it's, look, you have to go back now. Laura, I can see Laura's brain going, John, we just chatted A to Z. I mean, come on. Oh, you're on mute, Laura. Wait, you're on, Laura. Laura, you have to unmute.
I was going to say, it's really good that we could get the alphabet in order, right? Everything lined up.
Sesame Street is a win. Okay, so I'm going to ask, yeah, go ahead, Casey.
I was just going to say, I think I had a little bit of an advantage since I'm in the library.
Dewey Decimal, nailed it. Okay, so.
We're actually in a meeting the other day, and I don't even know what she is. She's got a doctor in front of her name, and she's like the dean's boss. So she's above the dean. And she was in the meeting and she said, I don't know, I'm not a librarian, but I know how to alphabetize and file. And all the librarians in the room were so offended.
I thought they were going to jump on. Offended. Wow, that's a strong word. Okay. So I'm going to ask the last question here. And the last question is, right, so now what? So what? Now what? Now what will you do differently in your next Zoom meeting?
I don't know that we've ever really leveraged the chat for anything useful or even called out that it's a place to go if you want to contribute something but don't want to interrupt. And I think just using, going back to your GER and using that as a new rule and something that our team leverages cohesive or consistently, I think would be great.
Thank you, Vanessa. Anybody else? Go ahead, Laura.
Can I ask a question instead?
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of the online stuff that I do with our clients, I have, somewhere from 40 to 100 people. How do you do something like that with that many people?
It depends. there are engagement things that you can do already, like polls, chat for sure, right? Everybody can chat at the same time. It doesn't really matter, right? But you can't really talk, right?
Right.
Laura, have you used breakout rooms yet?
No, I have not.
If you stay on the call, I'll give you an example of breakout rooms. We don't have time for it before Vanessa leaves, but we'll show it later. And so there are definitely ways to engage, and it really does matter. Just Laura, you and I know when we present to 12 people and then to 100 and to the 500, there's only certain things that we can do that are going to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Online is exactly the same, right? I actually have a section in my book here. It's a chart, and it says, what are you trying to achieve? How many people are there? What technological advices do you have? And then it kind of shows you, oh, well, we probably suggest this. And it's basically like me in a chart, right? Saying, if you ask me the same question, I would ask you the same questions before. If you asked me to design your session, right? Saying, I'm presenting to 12, I'm doing this, right? And I'm presenting to 100, then I'm trying to do this. So it's a great question, Laura. If you stay around after too, I'll give you some more distinct examples. But I just want to point out a few other dynamics here. For me in my seat as a facilitator, right? Vanessa did some things that almost 80% of our teams don't do, right? Have you ever heard the term fire, ready, aim? Yeah, Laura's like, yeah. I used to work at Microsoft, right? You get all these smart people, right? I've been halfway through my instructions and I'm watching the chat window now, and somebody chats A in the middle of the instructions. It does two things. One is, oh, they don't listen anymore. And number two is they can't talk. So they can't ask me any questions, right? And so if you don't ask me any clarifying questions, somebody else might have got it wrong, right? Or like Laura's like, what the hell are we supposed to chat, right? And so if you didn't clarify that, she could have been like putting a diatribe inside of the chat window, and you're like, no, we just want A to Z. And so that's what I'm saying is that Vanessa's ability, right? There's only been one other woman, Vanessa, and she was from Detroit, who got the team to plan before they started.
I felt like I was cheating, but I mean, I had to ask.
Does anybody else feel like they're cheating? That you cheated? See, it's not against my rules, Vanessa, right? I'm gonna go right back to the no sorry part. Lead. In the absence of leadership, lead.
Very good point.
And the world needs you, all of you, right? To lead. And I mean, look at, we have an all-women group here. I might as well, I'll be the representative woman. But they were just looking at, right? The best countries with the best coronavirus response, what did they have in common?
They're women.
They were all women leaders. You have the foresight, you have the empathy, right? All you got to do is have the voice. And I think that's really the key. So this is one thing I really want you to bring back for them. Now, what am I going to do different? If there's no leaders, lead. Ask, you can be all nice about it too, right? Like Debbie Ann's from New York. She's just like, oh, I'm just going to do this, right? But I'm from Seattle, so sometimes I'll go to Shannon. I go like, I drop into Shannon's meeting. I'm like, Shannon, would you mind if I led the meeting or help you manage the meeting for a few minutes? And Shannon would be like, sure. And then I take over.
I always feel like if you get a buddy in on something too, like, so you know they're going to say that it's okay. Like, hey, how about we try this, that we all raise our hands before we talk. And then that other person goes, yeah. And then like, I'll give the order, you know, and you almost already, then everybody buys into it. It's not like, oh, maybe we're not going to buy into it. Yeah. You set yourself up to win.
Bingo.
You know?
Okay, cool. So let's see if we can try and lock out or close up some of this other stuff. Hopefully Vanessa's going to stay through the whole piece here because now she's interested. She's engaged, right? Why did I do this?
3:45.
It's so great because I won a bottle of Macallan that got delivered to me yesterday, and because he had to drop out before the debrief, and he was messaging me and he goes, "What was the purpose of that exercise?" And I said, "Oh my God, you should have stayed on." And he goes, "I'll give you a bottle of Macallan if you can sum it up in one sentence." And I'm like, okay. Without rhythms, your teams fail. And he goes, "Oh, you got it." So he bought me a bottle of Macallan. We brought it in. We wiped it down with wipes last night, and then we proceeded to drink half of it. The key here is what I'm talking about. Teams need rhythm. If they don't have rhythm, they bump into each other. If they have rhythm, they can be awesome. And here are some easy ways for you to do it. Start and end each meeting exactly the same. People are grasping for security and stability in a time when there is no certainty and everything changes every day. So do the things you can control. Start and end each meeting exactly the same, and you'll find your team wants that. Like I know a woman who's coming in my Friday class, and she did it. She did it unknowingly, unconsciously, and when she tried to change the beginning of the meeting to something new, everybody complained like, no, 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 go back to that. They asked that question, right? Start the meeting the same way you did last time. And so they loved it. The next is find a rhythm for sharing and solving information online. And so what I mean by that is, like you, find that rhythm, which is Vanessa makes a suggestion, you guys all agree, right? Try and clarify, whatever that rhythm is, find it for sharing and solving information in the middle of your meeting. And the next thing here is bring your culture online. So I know like Casey's at a college, and I bet the college has a mascot, right? Bring that mascot online. And the reason for that is that mascot brings the stability of like the old world, right, into this new world. And that anchor is something that people will grasp onto and find. And again, it'll make them feel safe or secure, or at least something like back to normality. And if you don't have the culture for this piece, make it. Just make up something up, right? And just keep doing it. And if you just look for the stuff that works and just keep doing it. That's how I wrote my book, is like I look for these activities, I try them out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't get in the book. Once it works, that's why it's there, because I've tested it and it works. So anyways, here's the other piece to do. What you don't know, but you can now see, is that Debbie, move your cursor around, please, so you can see it. So Debbie is editing the participation map in the background. Hi, Kathy.
Hey.
And so the participation map is here in the background. She's putting this on here, and this is one of the key ways, Vanessa, I can tell whether you're contributing to the conversation or you haven't said anything. If Vanessa talks too much, I can also recognize that, and I can go, well, what does Shannon and Casey think, right? I'm a great facilitator. That's what I'm doing, right? And if she doesn't talk at all, I'm like, Vanessa, I just want to check in with you. You haven't talked for a little while. You have something to contribute. And she could say pass, right? Maybe she's an introvert. Maybe she has nothing to contribute, but she knows that I acknowledged her. I watched a session today. Again, it was all women at this networking session. And this woman was like, oh, I was been waiting patiently for 15 to 20 minutes for you to call me. And I thought you were going to pass me over, right? If you passed her over, she will become so disengaged from that group and never come back. Hi, Vanessa's friend. Nailed it. Okay, and so, you know, that's what, and look, this is what I'm telling you. This is why this is so engaging, is because I'm responding to you in real time. I'm not talking to a black box. I'm not speaking to my camera and not watching you. When I turn to my right now, I'm watching you on video. I'm looking for your reactions. This participation map is one of my keys. I discovered it 20 years when I was running telecoms, to ensure that every person was involved, engaged, and talking. There's nothing worse than me going, Vanessa, right? Look, now I'll see, look at Shannon, right? When I call on somebody, right, you're instantly engaged. You're like, oh, he's looking at me. Oh my gosh. So this participation map is such a key. And if you are as technologically enabled, or you don't have a producer, what you can do is just print out a piece of paper and then write in your participants' names and keep track of them. That's one of the best ways you'll keep people engaged. So now we're just talking about results, right? Let me just tell you about your result. You completed A to Z in 1 minute and 47 seconds. Joining in on the call is one of the teams that has the current record holder. Kathy, would you like to share your time?
It was 52 seconds? 52 or 53?
Yeah, 52 seconds. So Kathy's group currently has one of the fastest times. The slowest time to date is 10 minutes and 35 seconds. And they, look at Shannon laughing. They were so slow. They are the only team, they established, they chatted A to Z without ever establishing a system amongst each other. And that's why it took so long. They were all looking at each other, and like people were like going like this on their keyboard, trying not to get two people to chat. I don't have no idea how they did it. 10.5 minutes. And look at the difference. A team like Kathy's team spent 90% less time on this task. If Kathy was a manager on my team, that means she has 90% more time to spend on more valuable stuff, right? And so here are the results you should be looking for. Successful online meetings, right? The ability to get work done under very challenging conditions, helping and leading your company and developing new ways to help. So you can unmute your mic, which is great. So, and now I just want to see how much retention I have. I gave you an acronym. It's GER. What does the G stand for? Shout it out.
Goals.
Shannon says goals. The first R stands for?
Rules.
Rules, said Vanessa. She nails it. The next R stands for?
Rhythm.
Rhythm. Wait, who was that? Shannon. Oh my gosh, Shannon scores 2. Last but not least, the last R stands for all set.
Results.
Results. That's what you want. Look, I have 100% retention in 45 minutes. How cool is that? I'm just going to share this example, and again, I'm going to remind you, I'm going to stay on the call for up to 30 minutes afterwards and answer your questions off camera and off live, blah, blah, blah. So, but I just want to show a distinct example here in Seattle about a company that's producing results. Canlis is a 4-star, 3-generation restaurant. They, have $200, $300, $400 a night dinners. And on March 6th, holy cow, that was so long ago, they changed their entire business model in a week. They said this: times are changing and so are we for now. We're shutting down our dining room and bringing the food out to you. Fine dining is not what Seattle needs right now. This is incredible communication. Instead, this is one idea for safely creating jobs for our employees while serving as much of our city as we can. Hey, we got this, Seattle. This is what they did. They created a drive-through bagel shed in the morning. 8 to 11, you can get bagels, breakfast sandwiches, and coffee. You come for lunch, you can get a burger and a veggie melt. And if you call in, you can get a home-cooked dinner from a 4-star restaurant that was featured on Top Chef and a bottle of wine on your doorstep, right? You had me at a bottle of wine. Anyways, so this is this is the scene 14 days ago. Press picked it up. They were packed. They have a line of cars down Highway 99. They're practicing social distancing and doing this safely. They sold out of the bagel shed by 10:06. But I got a follow-up story a couple days ago. They made a mistake. And I keep telling people, fail faster. But they made a mistake. They accidentally sent everything to all 300 of their customers about a dinner, about warming. You got to turn your oven on to 325, right? To warm your meal up to make it to the level that they wanted. Of course, somebody replied all. And if you remember flame wars in the past where people used to reply all at work or in colleges and yell at each other, well, reply all, right? And we're just like facepalm waiting for the bad stuff to happen. And he said, given that this meal costs $125 per person, I can't imagine it would have been delivered anything other than steaming hot. And it could have gotten worse, right? Instead, Matthew Kim puts this. He goes, if you're dissatisfied with your order, may I suggest you donate your $125 fee to Feeding America. This is a national U.S. food bank. What happened afterwards is all the people on the list started donating. Canlis themselves donated $500, and in 3 hours, Feeding America reported back that they got $10,000 donation related to this Canlis email. This is our city. This is a country. Canlis is a company that is adapting. And many other restaurants have laid off, right, all their people, right? One of our famous restaurateurs closed 12 out of 13 restaurants. These people are doing it different, and they're getting it done. My name is John Chen. I'm the CEO of Geoteaming. You have just completed virtual team building. You now qualify for virtual team building 2, of which I'm going to send you an invite. If you want to learn more, I teach approximately 15 games in 90 minutes because you now know my system, you know my rules and results and rhythm, all right? And we just jam. It is a lot of fun. If you got value out of this, please help others. Just you can share this, geoteaming.com/virtual team building. Debbie Ann can put it in the chat, and you can also get it in the email that I sent afterwards. We're going to close today. I'm going to show you a way that we close today, and it's called Last Word. And I'm just going to ask you this simple question. what did you get from your investment in an hour today? And Vanessa's still with us. I know she needs to go, so let's let Vanessa go first.
Thank you so much. So many engagement tips and best practices for using Zoom. Interestingly enough, we had just started using Zoom when this pandemic hit Ohio. So we were new to Zoom and new to teleworking all at the same time. So this is very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome, Vanessa. Thank you so much. You can drop off at any time if you need to. Everyone's peace out to Vanessa. Peace out.
Thanks.
Bye.
Who would like to go next? Sorry for the noise. I'm eating cookies. Okay, let's go to Shannon.
Yep. I mean, we haven't, this is all new to us too, teleworking, all of this. And I actually have not had to host any of my own Zoom meetings yet, but that is what I'm looking to do with my POCs throughout the base. And so I just learned a lot in general, just in ways to keep people interacting. I'm interested in the second sessions where we can learn different activities. So I'm looking forward to that one too.
Shannon, thank you so much. And you need to ask Debbie Ann, because Debbie Ann right now is working to do what I'm doing. Right? By learning this process, she's going to become, we're looking to develop a series of facilitators. You could be able to deliver this to your entire base.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And I want to, if you are interested in that, please let me know. The easiest next step, sign up for level 2 and continue on the journey, okay?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to go next? Let's go to Casey, then Debbie Ann.
I want to echo what Vanessa said, that there are so many great best practices that I didn't even think of. And I mean, I was doing at minimum 2 Zoom meetings a day right when this all started. And then I hop in and out of the virtual reference desk all day long. And so some of the stuff I never even thought of. So, I mean, like, I wrote a lot of notes. So, and I'm definitely interested in Zoom, not Zoom, but team building too as well.
2 is a blast. I was laughing so hard, right? I do it every Wednesday, 12 to 1, except the first Wednesday is going to be our first level 3. So if you hurry up and finish before the end of the month, you're going to get the first version of level 3 in May, the first Wednesday in May. So thank you so much, Casey. So glad I could help the libraries. So many libraries. This class went viral when it got posted on libraryjournal.com. So thank you, Casey.
That's where I got it.
Let's go to Debbie Ann.
I just wanted to tell Shannon that small groups work really well, but there's really some really cool things that you do with larger groups, and it's actually more of that rhythm going. And I also teach Zumba classes online.
Oh, very nice.
And you can definitely see how you can make an impact to even a large group. So like if you have like 6 people, like, you know, that might be better for like personal training, but like Zumba, you can have like 100 people and it's fun time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie Ann. You want to look for things. If you also, too, you're always invited to my happy hour. I run one Wednesday and Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And also on Saturday night at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I run quarantine karaoke. And if you want to see like the latest of stuff, if you want to see, one of the things that we do, too, is a concept, Shannon, that I think is very important on your base. The ability to create psychological safety in this space. Yeah. Is something that has to happen if you want your teams to perform, right? The Google Aristotle research said psychological safety is one of the top 5 factors for high performing teams. I can help you show you. So
wow.
Let's go to Laura.
I liked the chat idea, the game, and having people connect by typing in a way to connect with them, like LinkedIn or their website. Oh, that was good.
Speed networking, right? You know, we go to conferences and there's only 2 goals, networking and education, networking and education. And you can, when you put them in, people are happy, right? When we started running happy hours on March 6th, and they've actually become a sanctuary for people. They look forward to it as the place to dump all the stuff that's been happening to them. And what we have is what I affectionately call the Game of Thrones moment, almost every happy hour, where somebody comes in and drops a story that's so jaw-dropping, right? It's like when they kill somebody in Game of Thrones, and it's not recorded, it's not put on Facebook Live, and everybody knows that, and everybody knows that they can come there exactly how they are. They can be happy, they can be sad, they can talk about what they really want to talk about. and it has been a huge boon. Many of my friends who have taken this class have started their own happy hours, and they're helping people, right? This is what I can end this. Thank you so much. I'm gonna take my last word for this. We discussed at the dinner table last night. You wanna get through coronavirus, find your purpose. Find your purpose, whatever it is. As soon as you find your purpose, right, you will now feel useful again. So many people are in need. 80% of the planet, right, doesn't know what to do. And so if you find your purpose and find a way to just even help the 10 or 20 or whatever people in your community, I'm pretty sure that you'll build that team and you will feel better, and you will figure out how to get through to the end of whatever coronavirus is and how to adapt to whatever is going on. So thank you so much. Again, I'm Chen with Geoteaming. This is the end of Virtual Team Building 1. And if you want to see Virtual Team Building 2, look online, geoteaming.com/virtual team building. Everyone wave bye to our Facebook Live audience. And perfect, we're off the air. Oh, there's Kathy. Kathy, are you driving? I sure hope you're a passenger. I think she is driving.
I'm good.
She's such a type A. Like, if you didn't see my very funny video, it had Catherine White on it, and she was sitting in a car, but it looked like she was driving. So I said, hey, everybody, pretend like we're having a normal Zoom meeting, and then pretend like you crashed. So I was like talking, and all this Catherine goes, "Whoa!" Right, and we were all going, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then I cut the video, and then I put it on as a joke video. And it says PSA: don't drive in Zoom. Okay, great. Anybody who have any questions? I know that we want to show breakouts. Casey, go ahead.
I have a question about the, oh my gosh, what was it? The participation log or something like that?
Participation map. Would you like to see it?
Map. Yeah, I would love to see that. But also my question is, so as you know, we've mentioned many times, I work in a library.
Yep.
And we are chock full of introverts. I am not one of them.
Yeah, you.
But I mean, there are people who, I mean, meeting after meeting after meeting, they're there, but they don't participate.
Yes.
So what do you do in that instance? I mean,
yep. Yeah.
What are the solutions there?
So, right, I study both personality and behavior types all the time, right? And by the way, you're going to get a copy of this, so you don't have to copy it. I'm going to send you your actual participation map. So with introverts, right, they don't know how to say anything. Right, again, one of the best things I think I've seen with introverts is that, let's just pretend like Debbie Ann now is an introvert, right? She hasn't said anything all meeting, right? And your job as the facilitator is to call on, and I give this rule. The rule is pass, and all right, it says, so as a facilitator, I'm gonna check in with her, and I describe this, and I say, hey, Debbie Ann, I'd like to just check in on with you if you have anything to add. And if you don't have anything to add, I give you permission to just say pass, right? So, yeah, so Debbie Ann says pass, right? And she feels okay, right? She's still having her introverty thoughts in her head, but she's not ready to share them yet. But I checked in with her, and I make a check on my map, which says, I count that as like Debbie Ann participating. So she's checked in, and she said pass to me, so she knows that I'm paying attention to her. And so that's it. The chat room is another one, right? Like some people, remember when text messaging blew up? And people would say shit, sorry, oh, we're off camera. People would say shit over text, right? That they would never say in person. I have an example in my book, right? There was this church, and this church actually went, and the pastor started an anonymous text line. So you could text a certain number, it would come in anonymous, and you could ask questions, and there were like questions like this. Okay, I'm just for the religion part, which whatever. So I'm just trying to show the example. People ask, is it okay if I go over to my girlfriend's house and spend the night over, even though we don't do anything? That was like these are things that they would never stand up and like raise your hand in church and say, ooh, 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 right? Or you would have to say, I'm asking for a friend. But when the text message came up, it went there. Let me tell you actually a deeper story. There's a TED Talk about a woman, and she started a hotline for kids. And it was just about helping the kids. So they started a text line. They sent some messages out, right? Because they started getting a database of text messages. And they just said, you know, they would push some cool information out, and they said, if you need help, just reply. So it was a crisis hotline. She started getting messages like, they call me fag. She started getting messages like, I don't want to do it, but I'm cutting today. And it broke her heart. This teen hotline, though, blew up. It's a national teen hotline that you can get help. And so she created this, she shifted the whole thing into a crisis hotline. And I mean, the first part is you're just blown away about the thoughts that are going through, you know, teenagers right now. But then the second part is she became really helpful. The whole thing goes through a pool, and multiple people are responding who are trained about how to respond to that correctly so they can help. And all these kids who are introverts are now getting help. Tangent. Go ahead, Debbie, go ahead.
I just have something to say that a lot of times when I see other team leads say, oh, you know, I don't think the kids are going to respond, or I don't think people are going to be responding. The world has changed so dramatically that these kids are TikToking, FaceTiming, YouTubing, doing all this stuff. So it's kind of us that are in that sort of, we're not comfortable, and a lot of times we put our onus on them. So leaving the door open for them, you'd be surprised how many, you know, younger people, I would say, and even like I watch TikTok, a lot of people are getting their parents to go online, and when they get their parents to go online, their views go up. So now all the kids are trying to get the parents to go online. Like my nephew goes, Ma, will you do it? And my sister's like total like dancer, you know, Zumba instructor. She's like, yeah, I'll dance with you. You know, we're gonna have our own channel, and they're gonna despise the fact that their mother's on there.
So Casey, I'm gonna do an add-on. Okay.
Okay.
So the add-on is, this format doesn't work for introverts, but the format sometimes in breakouts makes it easier. So I'm gonna show you a breakout. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to just give you guys a question. You can talk with each other and chat about stuff that you think you're going to apply from this class, or, you know, talk with the other person and try and bring back something, right? That try and get suggestions. Does that make sense? I need lunch. So do you know what I mean? Just you're going to have about two or 3 minutes to talk with each other, and we're going to come back.
Prize secret out of the other person.
What's that?
Get the prize secret out of the other person.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on a sec. So I'm going to put Debbie Ann in a room. And who will I put her with? Oh, I know. Yes. And yeah, okay, great. And then I'm going to do this. Okay, great. You will have 3 minutes and we'll come back. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
You'll get a warning when there's 60 seconds left, and then we'll meet you back here in the room.
And don't we have to strike a pose when we come back?
I haven't taught him that yet, so I won't do that. Okay, here we go.
I'll teach you everything.
Okay, I will see you in 3 minutes. Bye.
Hello.
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 Okay, so what are we supposed to do now?
Pry a secret out of someone.
Ooh, yeah, let's pry secrets. Do you want to pry secrets? No? Yeah?
You start, John.
In the principle, lead by vulnerability says, if you show something vulnerable, then quite often other people will too. What's a secret that I have? What's a secret? Oh, I was in a childhood fashion show. I had to wear a tennis outfit and a fake tennis racket. Very few people know that. How about you guys?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm that interesting. Like I don't know that I have really any secrets. I don't
believe that about Shannon, Laura. I think she's done some cool stuff. She's in the Air Force. Come on, dude. I had a friend, and she got a flight in a fighter jet.
What?
Yeah.
No, never done anything like that. I don't have one. Do you have one,
Laura?
Laura?
I don't know if I have any secrets. I mean, probably have a lot of interesting things that people don't know about me.
Yeah, sure one.
Well, a lot of people think that I was just born organized, I guess, and they think it's in my genes, but I'm actually adopted.
Ooh. I don't think I knew that about you, Laura.
Well, there you go. You learned something.
Oh, that's super.
Yeah, and you know what? Here, I'll share another secret.
Okay.
So, for Christmas, as a gift to myself this year, I bought the 23andMe. You know, so I could take the test and find out about my background, because I know my birth mom, but I want to find my birth father. And every day there's a guy in California that's been helping me try and locate, and it's so amazing, like what they've been able to tell me that I already knew about my birth mom's family. Like, this guy is hot on the trail of helping me find the other side of my family. And today it just literally had me in tears this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's been kind of cool to have some extra time to delve into that right now. You know, it was interesting. The box literally sat on my desk for almost 3.5 months until this whole thing hit. And I finally thought, you know, what is holding me back? I just need to do this. And I had time, and so I did it. And it's amazing.
Aww.
Awesome.
So that's a big secret.
Oh, best story of the day. All right, Shannon, come on.
I really don't have any secrets,
Yeah,
though.
Quick, Shannon.
I
Let me ask, where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Sumter, South Carolina at Sumter High.
Okay. What was your role in high school?
My
Like,
role.
I was the skater. Who were you?
So I was a cheerleader in high school.
I knew it.
I was a cheerleader in high school for like 2 or 3 years, and then went to college and didn't cheer in college, but I've always just tried to like encourage people. So, and before my current job, I was actually the youth director working for the military with children.
Oh.
Or I switched over, and now I work with, I call them big kids. So now I work with the adults on base. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. There's got to be one more in here. Like, did you go to concerts?
I love live music, but I don't really have a favorite band. I don't have a favorite. I just love live music.
What's the last live music coolest experience that you remember?
Oh, the last live was one of the, because again, I live in South Carolina. So back in the 90s, Hootie and the Blowfish was really big, but then he broke out and now he's Darius Rucker. So I've been to a Darius Rucker, but the last one they did a reunion concert here in Charleston. And so that was really cool.
Okay. I think the cheerleader in the concert is good enough. Here, I'm going to close the rooms. We're going to have 60 seconds. So you guys, what else do you want to say in 60 seconds? And then we're going to disappear back in the other room.
I don't really have anything. I'm looking forward to the second set. Like, I really am looking forward to the next one to learn some of those.
You'll see I was never a cheerleader, but I should have been.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a cheerleader story. Okay, one of my coworkers was a male cheerleader. You know when they throw the basket toss?
Yep.
Yeah, right? So he brought me to Hawaii, and I had to video the Christmas hula bowl at Hawaii, University of Hawaii's, right? And I had to film that. Boo-hoo, right? I had to film cheerleaders. And so I actually learned a lot about stunting, quite a bit. He also knows the person who invented that you have a girl does a backflip and they push her up with a hand and you catch her in one hand. He knows that person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
We did a pose.
We did.
So in our room, I disclosed the secret that I'm really a woman.
Oh, John. Oh, Anne.
Let's debrief through that. So, tell me how that experience was different for you, and if you want to share whatever you talked about, you can or you don't have to. But I just want everyone to understand the dynamic of a breakout room. Like, so I'd love. Who wants to share?
I just want to say that Casey opened up. She's absolutely not an introvert. And she gave me some information that she had taken notice of that would probably be beneficial to me. And it was, and she shared it in the chat room for anybody else.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie Ann. Who else?
I think it was great. I loved that you were able to message us in the breakout room. So I got a message that said, "Sharing secrets, are we?" from John, which that was nice that you guys could still communicate with us, I guess check in. So that was really cool too, on top of the rest of it.
As the host, I can jump rooms.
He jumps in sometimes.
So like yesterday, there was a 10-minute chat and there were 5 rooms. Every 2 minutes, I'd swap rooms and just kind of make sure the conversation was going well. And I'd step in and help if it wasn't. It's really fun. It's like teleporting. It is so cool.
You have like a link to a tutorial for that?
Online, Zoom. Yeah, but it's much better when you watch it. If you want to come see it, Casey, just hang out and I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay. Laura, Shannon, you guys want to share anything?
I think for me, it was just hard for like just the topic, like, cause I kept saying, I don't have any secrets. I don't have any secrets, which I really don't have any secrets, just, you know, but then John was able just to start asking questions and like pull little things out. So.
Laura?
Well, yeah, it was fun to talk to everyone that way. And I couldn't really think of a secret, but then I guess I came up with something anyway.
Laura had a mic dropping.
It wasn't a good word.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe I should have said share tips. That would have been better.
No, it was good. It was a great conversation. And so for me, right, what happened was the dynamic changes, and now the level of that intimacy becomes different because it's smaller, right? When I'm speaking to 100 people, right, I can't get to know everyone personally. But when I'm speaking to 3, it changes. And that's what I saw. And, you know, in our group, as people got more vulnerable, they were willing to share. And so I thought that was kind of cool, especially to Debbie Ann's dog. Woof.
Is she in the back? Yeah.
I found that valuable, right? And Shannon, can I disclose your high school role?
Sure.
Okay, so the 3 of you, can you guess one of Shannon's high school roles? So for instance, when
cheerleader.
What's that?
Cheerleader.
How'd you know?
I don't, because I was a cheerleader too.
Oh, see?
So was I, believe it or not.
This is
Oh, we got so many of us.
what Debbie just did is Debbie blinked Shannon. Do you know what I mean? Have you guys ever read the book Blink, Malcolm Gladwell?
Oh, that you like know something before you even know it?
We're humans, right? And we take all of our past experiences and it allows us to make snap judgments that computers can't quite yet make, right? And we don't even know why we're right. Like even Debbie Ann doesn't, she's like, I don't know, except for she disclosed a second fact. Oh, I'm a cheerleader. So she has the data, right? I had it too.
And so is Laura.
Yeah.
So is Laura.
You were a
I
cheerleader?
wasn't a cheerleader, but I
Yes.
watched the Netflix show Cheer. Does that count?
You were on that show?
No, I watched it.
I watched it.
But three out of 5, unless John was a cheerleader too.
I wasn't an official cheerleader, but geez, come on, Debbie Ann, look at me.
Yes, I know. I know it's not a big stretch to think that I was a cheerleader.
I could be like that guy. So there was a guy at the Seattle Supersonics when we used to have a basketball team, right? When we used to be able to go to basketball, and he had a toilet lid, right? And if you open the toilet lid, right, the people would go, "Rah!" And when he closed the lid, they would shut up, "Rah!" Right? And I actually got to do that once.
Oh, that's fun.
I could definitely lead 10,000 people to do something. Debbie and Anna, both of I have danced in front of like 3,000 people and make people follow the same moves that we have. And it's so high. It's such a high. It is like we don't need heroin. You just need to be able to dance in front of people and have them respond to you. So anyways, that's breakout room still. I wanted you to have that experience, and it's very new. I don't think we know all the things to do with it, but I can tell you that people like it. People like it a lot. So.
I just think that kids are never going to have another snow day ever again.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if your car malfunctions, you can just go to work. You just have to go to your computer and go to work. A lot of excuses are going to have to change.
Well, any other questions for everybody? Well, I'm going to redo last word in one last piece here, which is like, what's your hope? Right? We're going to have some kind of new future. If everyone could just close with a hope, then we'll just close this part of the call. Thank you for staying for the extra time. I appreciate it. What do you hope? What do you hope for?
Well, just for me and my role, I'm just hoping that I'm going to be able to take what I learn in these sessions and really, because even talking to my leadership on base, like getting everybody's head wrapped around virtual, because military is not like that. It's very, so this is a new time for us. So then even still, again, my role, like to help boost morale on the installation, is to be able to use these virtual outlets and different games and programs to still boost morale, since suicide is so high across the Department of Defense. So that's my hope, is that the members will take advantage of it as well.
Thank you, Shannon. And I'll give you this offer, which is I can at least once, if it fits with my schedule and it's possible for me to sit in, I'll be more than happy to sit in and observe and give you any feedback.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Who else would like to go? Oh. Go, Casey.
I would say, I mean, the library, I'm not working with the kind of numbers that some other people are. It's a very close-knit, group now, especially, we don't have our students, so it's just us. And I just hope that we can, we become we become closer almost as a result of this. But I hope that I can take some of this back to Hong Wu, who's my coordinator, and we can implement these things and become better, not just closer as a team, but more cohesive as well.
Aww. Yeah, have your manager come through the class. It's still free. While it's still free, come hurry up, because
I will definitely pass it on.
Thanks, Casey. Who else would like to go?
Shannon.
Shannon.
Laura.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think for me, after all of this, it's not really even about work for me. I just hope that this whole thing that we're experiencing brings people a lot closer together, families. We recognize what's really important in our lives, and that people are kinder to one another. That's what I hope.
Yes. Debbie?
I hope that you don't only use this with business. I hope that you use this to keep the connections with your friends and family. I happen to be a person that lives alone, and I'm alone. And this is giving me an outlet to reach out to my family for Easter and my friend's son's first birthday. And I offered to facilitate the party or background for them so that they could enjoy it a little bit more and realize that what we learn here can be used in every area of our life.
Thank you, Debbie. Well, my hope is that I hear great stories from each of you in implementing this, and my larger message is that I hope, this is a time I literally have had people on this call, Hungary, Georgia, the country, Slovakia, Ireland, Australia, right? And they're all in the same position. Everybody around the world is in lockdown. And, right, this is a time when, this is one of the key times where we could actually all unite, right? It's one my college roommate, who's no longer with us, he said, theory of the common enemy. Weird people will all join together if they have a common enemy. And now we actually do in this case. And so it could be the world's greatest opportunity to collaborate at a high level. And I hope we do. That's my hope every single day. So, and I hope all of you stay healthy and stay safe. So thank you again for joining me on Virtual Team Building. And if you have any questions, again, I'm going to send you a big email. So thank you very much. And I'll see you guys online soon.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
John, I want to say something to you.
Yeah. Hang out for a sec.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I just had an awesome idea.
Yes.
One of your last meetings that you have actually taped, I can take a sheet